Are you tired of spending hours on a single student's writing assignment? Do you wish you could give more in-depth feedback without burning out? Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you how to create a gem, which is a custom AI assistant built on Gemini to help provide consistent, high-quality feedback. First, we'll learn how to set up the gem, then how to add resources like rubrics, and finally, see it in action with a sample student response. Allez, on y va! Okay, so for today's example, let's imagine that I have given my French AP students the previously released 2019 email reply task. So they've read through it, they've identified the questions, they've written their responses, and now let's say I have 25 email responses to grade. So I want to create a gem within Gemini that is going to take their response to this task and measure it against the College Board rubric to give them a score and to measure it against the particular criteria. I want it to also give my students their ACTFL proficiency level based on the most recently released guidelines from 2024. And I wanted to provide some rationale as to why is it giving the student that particular score? Why is it giving the student that particular proficiency level? So with these materials and ideas in mind, let's go over to a fresh Google page. And now to create a gem, we actually first need to search for Gemini, because gem is a feature within Google Gemini. All right, so just a side note, sometimes if you're already a Gemini user and you bring it up, it will default with this ribbon along the left-hand side with your chats. And I can't see gems yet, okay? So to find that, I'm just going to hover until I get this gray vertical bar. I'm going to pull it up, and then to create my new gem, I just want to click Explore Gems. Great, and from now this page, I'm in my Gem Manager page within Gemini. I have this blue button closer to the right-hand side that says Add New Gem. Okay, so before we start playing with this, we just want to look at this window here. We basically need to be concerned about three parts. The first part is to give it a name so that we can find it in our gems list. So let's call this one AP French Email Grader, or maybe Interpersonal Writing Grader, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Then our instructions are really going to act like the brain and the background of this gem. So imagine like you had a teacher's assistant, right? And so before you have the teacher's assistant go through the student responses and grade them, you kind of need to tell that TA, okay, well, here's exactly what I want you to look at first. You need to familiarize yourself with the task. And then here are the guidelines and the rubrics that I want you to apply. So that's where we really come up with the instructions here in this particular middle box. In another video, I will show you how to use Google Gemini to come up with the prompt that goes in this box to give the exact orders. But for right now, I already have one pre-made. Okay. So I'm just going to come over here and we're just going to paste and copy it. But before we do that, let's look at some of the components. You usually want to give your gem a persona. So you can tell it that it's a world language educator in this case, and that you're giving it its major task to evaluate the student's writing. I also give it a tone, basically telling that it needs to be supportive. Okay. You're going to tell it which documents you want it to use to grade the student sample. So in this case, as we said before, the College Board scoring rubric, the ACTFL 2024 proficiency guidelines, and then the directions from the actual AP French exam for the email task. Again, we're restating that basically we wanted to analyze the student response and use those particular resources to analyze the student's writing. This part of the input is just going to be the key to tell the gem, once I use it, which particular writing prompt did I give the student? Was it from the 2019 exam? Was it from the 2022 exam? Okay, so it knows exactly what the prompt that I gave it that particular week. And then it also needs the student response in order to grade it. So I've just highlighted those to remind me that's what I need to put in the gem later so it knows what it's working from. These are the variables that are highlighted in yellow are the ones that are going to change from week to week. Okay. And then once it looks at this student response, it's read let's say the 2019 email task. I'm going to give it some directions on what I want it to do. What do I want its output? Sorry, what do I want its required output to look like? So I want it to give the College Board score, the ACTFL proficiency level, and then here's where I want it to give it the rationale. Great, if you gave it a score of whatever the number is, pull out some quotes and some phrases from the student response to support your assertion, right? To give your evidence. Do the same thing for the ACTFL proficiency rationale. And then for the student, I want it to give a glow, a positive comment with evidence from the student's writing. And based on that rubric, and again on the ACTFL proficiency guidelines, I want it to give the student a grow. So what's one constructive, actionable feedback item that the student can do in order to move to that next level within the ACTFL proficiency band? Okay, so that's all in these instructions here. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight it, Control, copy and paste. Okay, so we've pasted over our instructions of what we want our gem to be able to do, okay, when we give it a new student writing sample. Okay, and as we said before, we need to give it some data to pull off of so it doesn't go out to the major internet, right? So the third part down here it says knowledge. So it has a little plus mark. I'm just going to hit add file. And I've already downloaded these, so now I'm going to re-upload them to GEM. I need to give it the proficiency descriptors from ACTFL. I need to give it the rubric from the College Board and the email criteria that's actually on the French AP exam from the student directions. Okay, so these are the resources it's going to pull from in order to execute its analysis of the student's writing. Yay, we have all three portions complete. At this point, I'm just going to go ahead and hit save. Yay, created it. Okay, start a chat. Okay, so we said in the directions before that now that I've brought up my email grader, in order for it to use the ACTFL proficiencies in the background and to use the rubric in the background, it needs to know which particular prompt did I give it. I'm sorry, which particular prompt did I give the students, right? The original email instructions that I gave the students. So, and it needs the actual student response. So I've just typed these out. I'm going to copy them back over here. Okay, so now every time I pull up this gem, this is what so kind of reminders for me. What do I need to give it? So original email instructions, please reference the attached PDF. So here I'm going to attach the 2019 email reply. Okay, so basically I'm reattaching this so it has the exact instructions from the 2019 email reply. And then I need to copy over my first student response. Okay, so we're going to pretend I pulled up a a student response. And here I just want to give you a little side note. So for my students, I always tell them to pick a particular character at the beginning of the school year, to when they do the email reply task on the AP exam, or when they do the cultural comparison, sometimes they state their names, not to use their actual names. They need to pick a character or an historical person, just to protect their personal identity, right? So you can see in this student's particular response, they've taken on, they're going to be Napoleon Bonaparte. Okay, so Napoleon has written this response to the email reply task. So I've got it open. All I'm going to do is copy it, and then I come back into my gem, and then Control V to paste it. Yay! All right, all I needed to do, just attach the, again, just attach the in particular instructions that I gave the students that week, okay? So it knows what they replied to, and then give my first student response. All right, so now here's where the magic happens. I'm gonna come down here to this arrow that says submit, and let's count and see how fast it can go. Ooh, okay, I got 8 seconds. I watched that little wheel go around for 8 seconds. So in 8 seconds, it executed my instructions in the background, and this is what it gave me. So now let's look through this a little bit more. All right, it gave the student a College Board score of a 2, an NACFL proficiency level of an intermediate low. And I'm not going to read absolutely everything, but I just kind of want to go over the broad brushstrokes of the remainder of the screen here. So I had asked it before in the instructions, okay, it gave the student a score of 2. Why? So it's starting to provide its rationale. The student provided some information, but they didn't go into detail. They've got grammatical errors, and they forgot to ask a question. And if I want to know what it's pulling off of, all I have to do is come and hover over this hyperlink, and it's telling me where it's pulled from. I can see the PDF of the rubric that it's referring to that I gave in the background, the College Board rubric. Okay. All right, so it's pulling off of the sources that I gave it. It's doing the same thing for the ACFL proficiency level. So remember up above, it gave the student a level of intermediate low. And here it is going to, if I hover over these hyperlinks, it's going to pull out of the proficiency guidelines what those elements are. And it's also, I can see in the quotation marks where it's pulling out examples from the student's writing sample to justify its rationale. Okay, so I, as the teacher, I'm going to read through all of that. All right, and then we can see it did give the glow and the grow to the student. Okay, it was it's commending the student for successfully answering both of the questions in the email. Okay. All right, and then for the grow, it's telling it to move to the next highest proficiency level, to be really cognizant of their verb conjugations, and to remember to include all parts of that task, especially going back and asking for their own question. All right, so at this point, I am still the teacher in the loop, right? I am the human in my classroom, okay? So if I like this, underneath this particular feedback, I can go down to this double set of square buttons and hit copy response. So copy it to the clipboard. And then I would open up whatever I gave the students in. So if it was in Google Classroom or if it was informative, in that grading and response window, I can paste as much or as little of this feedback as I like. And after I paste it, I can go back and I can tweak. If I don't agree with what the gem came up with, again, that's my prerogative as a teacher, and that's what I need to be doing, is making sure I'm reading the feedback and seeing if I agree with it before I send it back to the student. So to wrap up here, I hope that this gave you an overview of how you can create a gem in the background so that it can enhance and speed up your grading processes, because we all know that when the students receive timely feedback and detailed personalized feedback, the better that they can grow with. So if you enjoyed this, please do like and subscribe to the channel. And again, look forward to our next video where I show you how to use Gemini itself to create that master set of instructions in the background of Gem. All right, thank you so much. Au revoir.